The first of the two masterpieces from McLaren that we'll be seeing today comes from the Ultimate series. This category shares presence with the likes of the McLaren Senna, the mighty McLaren P1, and the ever so fast Speedtail. Let's take a look together at McLaren Elva. So what the McLaren Elva does is it harkens back to the 60s, where the McLaren M1 was a very lightweight car that McLaren Racing back then was too busy and wasn't really able to take that platform to make it into a customer car. Enter Elva Motorsports, a company that worked in conjunction with Bruce McLaren to prepare these cars in 3 different iterations to prepare them for customer use. And so what McLaren has done is they acquired the name for this ultra lightweight, beautiful, open top car. What we have right here is a car that has absolutely no windscreen. There are no windows on the side. And as an extension of that, everything revolves around engagement, about the feel, the thrill of driving in the elements. Now, I'm actually at a loss of where to start and what to say. One of the very key features is, because of this open top, McLaren have completely annihilated the edge or the line between exterior and interior. What you'll see is the exterior paint flows in this very smooth curved surface, and so you actually see the exterior color from the interior of the car. Now, one really trick element, and McLaren have always provided us with some sort of innovation, is actually at the front. Let's take a look at this. McLaren always shows us innovation, and the engineering innovation in the Elva is called the Active Air Management System. So the AAMS basically takes air through the intake, bends it at 130 degrees. This element right here projects upwards, and the incoming air hits the air coming back out of it and pushes it all the way above the occupants of the car. And so what essentially happens is you create a bubble of somewhat like a bit of a calm environment. Even though you don't have a windshield, at lower speeds you can drive this car very comfortably as if it were a convertible with the windshield and the top down. Absolutely fascinating. Obviously, the active air management system will only protect the occupants of the car up to a certain speed, beyond which you obviously need a lot more protection. Now, the car comes with a pair of helmets that can be stored in this binnacle that hinges open behind the driver and the passenger. And immediately between that is a safety system that is an anti-rollover protection system that shoots outwards to protect in case of a rollover. So to access the interior of the Elva, there's a push button on the inside. You simply reach out and open the door. And what you'll notice is you can actually literally step into the car and you can be standing on the floor. This is because the seats of the Elva have been designed to facilitate easier ingress and egress. I am literally standing on the floor of the Elva. Everything revolves around the fact that this car does not have a windshield, right down to where you place the vents for the AC. So instead of being somewhere around this level in a normal car, we have them all the way down here. And that's designed to keep the effect of the AC within the cabin. So to cool the powertrain, it seems like you only have this small kind of intake on this side right here. But the sculpture hides other intakes, such as this one right here, right next to the mirrors, that actually channels the air through the door and into the engine bay. There are others as well, but they're all hidden for the sake of the beauty of the sculpture of the McLaren Elva. The design continues with these model-specific wheels. There are also a 10-spoke option that you could go for. But if we take a look at the end right here, this entire piece is an active aero wing, and the exhaust system is finished with 2 exhausts shooting upwards and 2 of them shooting backwards. There is a variety in the tones. So basically, the 2 that shoot upwards are kind of meant more for the driver and the passenger of the car. So you get a different sound out of these than you do out of those right there. McLaren are very fond of their technology and their engineering. And so this kind of grated look right here is meant to actually give you a chance to look into the underpinnings and look at the mechanical marvel behind it. The second of the McLaren masterpieces is one that I am really excited to see. Welcome to the 765 LT. The car we're standing in front of is the third chapter in McLaren Automotive's long tail story. Now, preceding those days, in McLaren's racing heyday, we had the almighty F1 that had a long tail version designed specifically for racing that was physically, visibly much longer. Now, LT today has dropped the physical extension of the body, although it is marginally longer, but it's more about the ethos. The long tail cars are designed for one purpose in mind, and that is total domination on any circuit. McLaren have created quite a name for themselves for turning already very capable road-going cars into sharper, toned, focused track variants. They did it successfully from 650S to 675 LT. They did it again from 570S to 600 LT, and the expectation was very high to take the 720S, a phenomenal starting point, and add the LT recipe to that. There are 5 elements that McLaren focuses on to change any of its road-going cars into an LT variant. First of all is weight reduction. Everything hinges around weight. And the weight reduction, starting with the 720S, is a very difficult challenge. They have done it, and they've done it in spades, with 80 kilograms shaved off the 720S. To shave 80 kilograms off an already light car, you have to take severe measures. So the AC and the sound system, for example, have to be opted back in if you want them. But going beyond that, it's basically an accumulation of adding a lot more carbon fiber to even thinning down the glass on the windows, as well as using polycarbonate on the rear windshield and the C-pillars. The wiring harness is lighter, and the reason the LT launch colors are flat colors is because the metallic paints are heavier. Second is increased power. Now the nomenclature gives it away. 765 LT is 765 PS. So we have more power coming out of the powertrain. The third element, or the third ingredient in the LT recipe, is improved aerodynamics. And we see this everywhere in the car. Starting off with how the lower end is lower than the 720S while keeping the rear height the same. So effectively, it creates more of a wedge shape, improving the aerodynamics overall. But take a look at this beautiful single-piece carbon fiber front splitter. We also have these louvers in the front fenders that relieve some of the pressure that builds up in the wheel wells. And easily missed is that the actual geometry of the eye socket is slightly different from the 720 to the 765 LT. Let's take a look at what's happening with aero in the back. Aerodynamics are managed all over the car, including the underside. But the more visible part is the wing. Take a look at this. Significantly larger wing, spanning the entire width. It almost looks as if it's deployed even when it lies completely flat. Now this wing has 3 different modes that can give you better downforce, better braking with the air brake, or more slipstream when you need to go faster on the straights. Continuing with aerodynamics, we have this beautiful single-piece carbon fiber diffuser, spans the entire width of the car, and looks like it was ripped off straight off a GT3 race car. Beautiful, isn't it? The fourth element is actually very difficult to measure, and that is driver engagement. Now, where do we see this? We see this in the absolutely breathtaking quad exhaust system. The sound on the LT is phenomenal. Now, because we have thinner glass, we have polycarbonate on the rear windshield, we even have a window that lets you peek into the engine bay from within the cabin. All of this gives you a sensation that is far more turned on. At the same time, we have a transmission that does something really trick. Now, on another car, if you were to demand a lower gear with high enough revs, the car will simply not give that to you. On the LT, however, it will remember that that is what you want, and it will wait until the conditions allow the gearbox to drop down one gear, and it will do that. I can talk about the exhaust system all I want, but trust me, it's far better to do this. Most of the interior carries over from the 720S, but that's not a bad thing because that is an amazing starting point. The only visible differences are the optional Senna seats and the exposed carbon fiber center console. The fifth and final element in the LT recipe is exclusivity. This car will only have 765 coupe, and you have a numbered plaque right there that tells you which of the 765 units you got.